Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all are doing fantastic today, and sorry about the delay. And welcome to our presentation on Amtrak Vacations What's Hot with Amtrak Vacations for 2018. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Nick Bonnell, and I have proudly been with Amtrak Vacations now for, just about 5 years. A little bit about myself. I am a huge fan of rail travel. I've done quite a bit extensively throughout the United States and throughout Canada and through Europe. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm looking forward to being here today and sharing all of this wonderful information with all of you today. Definitely stay tuned towards the end of the presentation today, as we'll have some exclusive discounts for you all, and even one lucky person will win a $100 Amtrak Vacations gift card. So something definitely to look forward to towards the end of the presentation today. Now, you might ask yourself, why Amtrak Vacations? Well, there's several reasons for that. First off, it's a bucket list experience. In fact, we surveyed all of our travelers last year as to why they chose traveling by Amtrak with Amtrak Vacations. And the number one consensus answer that we kept seeing was that it was a bucket list trip. If you think about it, people have done the cruises, ocean cruises. People have done the all-inclusives to Mexico and the Caribbean. You've done the Disney World trips, you've done river cruising now, and you're looking for something different, something fun, something unique. Well, the rail can definitely satisfy all of that. There's room to roam. Take what you know about being on an airplane where you're stuck in a seat for hours upon hours, you can't get up and move around, and you're just stuck there. Well, with Amtrak, it's the complete opposite. You're actually encouraged to get up and move freely amongst the train. Go visit the several different cars, visit the dining car, visit the cafe car, or visit my personal favorite, the observation car, which we'll touch base on just a little bit later. There's less hassle. There's none of this business about checking in 24 hours ahead of time, or paying for your checked luggage ahead of time, or showing up 2 to 3 hours ahead of schedule. There's no need for that with Amtrak. Most people generally will show up 45 minutes to an hour ahead of their schedule, making it as worry-free and as hassle-free as possible for you. City to city service. Now, this I love, because one thing I dislike are those long airport transfers. So much of these airports are so way out of the ways from where you need to be. And then after a long flight, the last thing you want to do is take a long car ride to get to where you need to be. Well, Amtrak typically goes from downtown to downtown. Look at New York Penn Station, for example. It's right in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. Chicago Union Station is right in the heart of downtown Chicago in the Loop area. LA Union Station is right in the heart of the downtown loop, or the downtown area of downtown Los Angeles. We get you to where you want to be, and so you can start your sightseeing as quickly as possible. Satisfy your hunger. Now, this we'll touch base on just a little bit later. I just want you all to know that whenever you do upgrade to the sleepers on board the train, meals are automatically included, and you won't want to miss out on that, as the dining on Amtrak is fantastic. And lastly, flexibility. Almost every single one of our trips operates on a daily basis, so you can really travel when you want to travel. Unlike these, you go on these escorted tours and these cruise dates, and there's specific dates. It can only travel on this date. It can only travel, and you got to base your travel schedule around that. Well, with our packages, you can travel whenever you want, because they operate almost daily. There's only a couple exceptions, and those are our seasonal national park trips. Now, I love showing off this map because it really amazes me how extensive Amtrak's system really is. In fact, Amtrak services 46 out of the 48 continental states here in the United States, with the exceptions of South Dakota and Wyoming. And last year, in 2016, Amtrak set their ridership record with over 32.5 million riders, which, put in perspective, if Amtrak was an airline in 2016, they would have been the 6th most flown airline in the world. Very exciting. Now, I got a couple fun little slides that really highlight some of the benefits of traveling by train. And the first is there's no pesky middle seat on board the train. This actually has happened to me more times than I'd like to admit, where, you get on an airplane, you're stuck in that middle seat, you're sandwiched between two strangers, and you really can't get comfortable. Well, with Amtrak, we work in rows of two, so you can truly maximize how comfortable you are on board our train. There's no reason for you to be sandwiched between two strangers. How about the fact that there's no need to spend your days sitting in traffic? In fact, we have an expression we like to use around here. Why not take the road less traveled? That road being Amtrak. All you have to do is kick back, relax, and let us do the driving for you. There's no need to be confined to a seat. You go in these motor coach tours, you're stuck on a bus for hours upon hours, and you can't get up and move around, and then you're stuck in this tiny little seat. It's just not enjoyable. Once again, with Amtrak, you're freely encouraged to move amongst the train. Go visit the different cars, visit the observation car, the dining car, all the different areas on board the train. And lastly, my favorite one. I'm going to leave this up. What do you see on the left-hand side? see clouds, right? It's pretty boring if you think about it. Think about it. Clouds are going to look the same no matter where you go in the world. But if you're on Amtrak, you see, let's see, pristine beaches, big cities, mountains. These are just some of the examples of some of the pristine scenery that you can see from Amtrak. Think about it. We're really lucky here in the United States where we have literally every type of scenery imaginable. We have those pristine beaches, big cities, mountains, prairies, deserts, small town America, rainforests, swamplands. We have it all, and all of it can be literally can be seen from the comfort of an Amtrak train. Now, before we hop right into the packages, definitely don't forget to download the handout that you can see right on the side right here. It should be on your right-hand side of the GoToWebinar control panel. That'll have a lot of the information that we're going to go over shortly. And also, too, throughout the presentation, if you have any questions where that arrow is pointing, please feel free to enter in any questions, and I will be more than happy to answer those for you. Now, you might ask yourself, how do I go ahead and book one of these great vacation packages? Well, you can give us a call at 1-800-268-7252, and one of our very amazing vacation reservationists will be more than happy to help set that up for you. Or you can book through the website at amtrakvacations.com, or what I always recommend, this is my idea, what I would always do, call, or even better yet, pay a visit to your local travel agent. They are amazing. I actually go through my local travel agent for all my travel, so definitely highly recommend that. Travel agents are one of the best resources possible. And keep in mind, too, you can choose between any of the 500 Amtrak stations to start or end your trip at, or alternatively, you can fly to the start destination or fly home from your end destination. Now, we offer several different types of vacation packages that can really cater towards any type of traveler. First, we have our independent rail journeys. Now, these are our multi-city, multi-state, week-long to even up to 16-day-long trips. They're incredibly comprehensive as they cover quite a bit of ground. So if you're looking for a bit of a longer trip, these are definitely the ones you would want to take a look at. They're incredibly comprehensive. We have our family adventures, which I always recommend if you have a large family trip or a multi-generational trip, as there's something for everyone on them. From grandparents to grandchildren, they are completely family-friendly. We have our rail and sail packages, which combine the wonders of an Amtrak journey, but also with an Alaskan cruise out of Seattle or Vancouver. So you get two completely different travel styles all rolled up into one amazing package. We have our rail getaways, which are our single city 2 to 3 night long trips. If you're looking just to get away for a couple of nights, these are definitely the perfect packages for you. You can just try to, get away. Maybe you have a long weekend. We have tons of these options throughout the United States and Canada, all throughout. And lastly, national parks are some of our most popular destinations. Places like the Grand Canyon, Glacier Park, Yellowstone. We actually work hand in hand with some of the hardest to get and most sought after national park lodges where we can help bring these amazing, amazing packages to you. So let's hop right into it, shall we? And the first one we're going to go over is our most popular package to the most popular national park here in the United States, the Grand Canyon. In fact, the Grand Canyon was the most visited national park last year with over 7.5 million visitors, which is really impressive. So this is our most popular package for the Grand Canyon. It's our Rails to the Grand Canyon. So what it is, it departs out of Los Angeles, does an overnight train on board the Southwest Chief, arriving to Williams, Arizona the following morning. In Williams, we'll switch right over that morning over to the Grand Canyon Railway, which is the antique steam train that will take you all from Williams, Arizona up to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. I love it because it adds another train experience to a train vacation. So not only do you get the Amtrak experience, but you're getting that antique steam train experience as well. When we get up to the South Rim, we will be met by a motor coach for a guided Grand Canyon South Rim tour, which will kind of really highlight a lot of the key sites of the Grand Canyon South Rim. And then we're going to spend 2 nights up in one of the lodges in the Grand Canyon South Rim. And then after that, we are going to transfer you back down to Williams on the Grand Canyon Railway, where we'll catch an evening train, an overnight train, back to Los Angeles, where we arrive the following morning. So just to highlight this one, everyone, it's a 5-day, 4-night. We get the Steamliner train on the Grand Canyon Railway to the South Rim. We get the motor coach rim tour of the South Rim. We get 2 nights hotel, 2 nights on board the train. Yes, those 2 nights on the train are in coach accommodations. We can definitely upgrade those to the sleeping accommodations. We'll get a private room with beds, shower access, and our meals on the train will be included. And let's pay a visit to another one of our top national parks and one of our top national park packages, Glacier National Park. Now, Glacier Park is our most popular seasonal national park because their season is only from mid-June to mid-September. And the reason for that is because it is in northern Montana. So yes, it does snow about 9 months of the year up there. So keep that in mind, that space does get rather limited up in Glacier National Park. So this package, for example, starts off by doing 2 nights in Chicago, right in downtown Chicago, right where you want to be in the Loop area. And while we're there in Chicago, we will have the Shoreline Sightseeing Architecture Cruise, which is the boat ride that will bring you all down the Chicago River. It highlights a lot of the famous skyscrapers and buildings that Chicago is known for. In fact, Chicago is the birthplace of the modern skyscraper, and this tour highlights almost all of that. From Chicago, we'll then do an overnight train on board the Empire Builder, doing an overnight train from Chicago to Glacier National Park, where we arrive the following day. And in Glacier Park, we're going to do 3 nights at the Glacier Park Lodge. While we're in Glacier Park, we'll have 2 tours. The first is the Two Medicine Valley Boat Cruise, which is a boat ride on Two Medicine Lake, situated in the Two Medicine Valley, as seen right on your screen. And the second tour is called the Big Sky Circle Tour. Now, this is the main tour of the park. It's a full-day tour that utilizes the Going to the Sun Road, which is the main highway that runs right through the middle of Glacier Park. It's definitely the most comprehensive tour that Glacier Park has to offer. So this is quite nice, and this is the tour that it'll be very nice, and you'll be able to see the majority of the sites that Glacier Park has to offer. And then once our stay in Glacier Park is all said and done, we will then hop aboard the Empire Builder for one more quick overnight, and then we arrive the following morning into Seattle, Washington. And in Seattle, we will do 2 nights in a downtown Seattle hotel. And while we're there, we're going to have admission to the Space Needle, as seen right on your screen, as well as the admission tickets to the Chihuly Garden and Glass Museum. And then lastly, we'll also get a multi-day hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour of Seattle, which will take you around the city on a big loop. And you can get off and on as you please at all the different sites and attractions that Seattle has to offer. And you can actually visit all of the, it'll take you by the Space Needle. It'll take you over to the Pike's Place Market where you can see them throw the fish. It will even take you over to my coffee lovers, to the original Starbucks, which is definitely a must-see while you're in Seattle, especially if you're definitely really into coffee like I am. So just to highlight this one, everybody, it's a 10-day, 9-night. We get the Architecture Cruise of Chicago. We get the 2 tours in Glacier Park. We get the Two Medicine Valley Boat Cruise and the Two Medicine Valley Boat Cruise and the Big Sky Circle Tour. In Seattle, we'll get admission to the Space Needle as well as the Chihuly Garden and Glass Museum. And lastly, we'll get a multi-day hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour of Seattle as well. All in all, 7 nights hotel, 2 nights on board the train. And yes, those 2 nights on the train are in coach accommodations. Once again, everyone, we can absolutely upgrade to the sleepers. We'll get a private room with beds, shower access, and our meals on the train will be included. Now, as we continue, let's pay another visit to another one of our top national parks, and that is another seasonal one, that being Yellowstone National Park. Now, this is our top Yellowstone package. It's Peaks to the Pacific. This one starts off with 2 nights in Denver, Colorado, where we get a guided full-day tour of Rocky Mountain National Park, which you won't want to miss out on. That is the thing to see in Colorado. So we'll do 2 nights and have the tour of Rocky Mountain National Park. From Denver, we'll then do some really amazing train travel, just solid 12 hours of just nonstop mountains between Denver and Salt Lake City. And it's day travel, so there's no overnights on that. When we get we'll get into Salt Lake City, and we'll do 2 nights in downtown Salt Lake City. And while we're in Salt Lake City, we are going to have we're going to have a guided narrated tour of Salt Lake City. So you'll be able to experience some of the best that Salt Lake City has to offer. From Salt Lake City, we'll then transfer you via the Salt Lake Express, which is the motor coach transfer that will take you from Salt Lake City up to West Yellowstone. And when we get up to West Yellowstone, we'll do 2 nights in one of the lodges up in West Yellowstone. And while we're there, we're going to have the full-day tour of Yellowstone National Park's Lower Loop. Now, this tour is amazing because it is a full-day tour that highlights a lot of the key landmarks and sites of Yellowstone National Park. But the best part about it is that it actually is guaranteed that you will see Old Faithful erupt during this tour. It's guaranteed, which is pretty amazing in itself. From Yellowstone, once our 2 nights are done there, we will then hop aboard the Salt Lake Express. It brings us back down to Salt Lake City, where we will then do another overnight train, where we arrive the following afternoon into San Francisco. When we get into San Francisco, we're going to do 2 nights in a downtown hotel, And while we're in San Francisco, we are going to have a day tour of Yosemite National Park. Now, this tour is amazing because you won't have to worry about getting yourselves to and from San Francisco to the park. The tour will pick you up from your hotel in San Francisco, drive you up to Yosemite Park, and you will get a full day, incredibly comprehensive tour of the Yosemite Valley. Really amazing sightseeing tour. So just to highlight this one, everybody, it's a 10-day, 9-night. We get the sightseeing tour of Rocky Mountain National Park in Denver, Colorado. We get the narrated tour of Salt Lake City, Utah. We get a bus tour of Yellowstone. We get the round-trip shuttle transportation from Salt Lake City up to West Yellowstone, as well as the narrated tour of the Yellowstone National Park's lower loop. And then we get the day tour of Yosemite National Park right out of San Francisco. All in all, it's 8 nights hotel, 1 night on board Amtrak, and then that 1 night on the train is, in fact, in coach accommodation. We can absolutely upgrade to sleeping accommodations. Once again, we'll get a private room with beds, shower access, and our meals on the train will be included. Very, very, very exciting. Now, as we continue, we're going to pay a visit to our neighbors to the north. That's right, we are going up to Canada. And we have this amazing package, which is our right here. It's our Glacier National Park and the Canadian Rockies by rail. So you get not only some of our amazing American national parks, but you also get to see and experience some of our wonderful Canadian national parks as well. So let's hop right into this. What we do is we depart out of Chicago. Now, I do want to make note, because you've probably seen throughout the presentation as well, a lot of these trips do start and end in Chicago. And the reason for that is simply because that is Amtrak's hub station, is Chicago Union Station. So we can definitely experience that. But if you are coming from outside of Chicago, we can actually catch the train at any of the stations throughout the United States. We can catch the train wherever, or you can even fly to Chicago and fly out. Anyways, we'll do a night out of Chicago on the Empire Builder, doing an overnight train over to Glacier National Park, where we'll do 2 nights in Glacier National Park at the Glacier Park Lodge. And while we're there, we're going to have the 2 tours, the Big Sky Circle Tour, as well as the 2 Medicine Valley boat cruise. From Glacier Park, we'll then do an overnight train on the Empire Builder over towards Seattle. We arrive into Seattle the following morning, and in Seattle, we'll then switch right over to Amtrak's most scenic regional train, which is called the Cascades. And we're going to take the Cascades from Seattle up to Vancouver. And in Vancouver, we're going to do 2 nights in a downtown Vancouver hotel. Now, I can tell you, I actually just went to Vancouver for the first time ever back in October, and it was absolutely amazing. It blew my mind. It was so much better than I even anticipated, and I'm already planning my next trip to Vancouver. It honestly would be a city I myself could personally live. I thought it was such a beautiful, clean, friendly city with so much to see and do. While we're in Vancouver, we'll do 2 nights in a downtown hotel. And while we're there, we're going to have a multi-day hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour, which will take you around the city on a big loop. And you can get off and on as you please at all the different sites and attractions. Highly recommend taking some time and exploring Granville Island as well as Stanley Park. They're 2 of the most scenic areas that Vancouver has to offer. And on top of all of this, we get admission tickets to the Vancouver Lookout, which is the observation level at Harbor Center Tower, which is the tallest building in the city of Vancouver. You get some really beautiful aerial views of the city, of Vancouver Harbor, and as well as the surrounding mountains. Once our stay in Vancouver is all done, we'll then hop aboard Via Rail, which is the Canadian train system. And we'll do an overnight train from Vancouver up to Jasper, where we arrive into Jasper the following afternoon. And we do 1 night in a centrally located hotel in Jasper. And while we're in Jasper, we'll have the Icefields Parkway excursion. That includes a ride on board one of those big ice exploring vehicles. You actually get an opportunity to go. It does a journey to the Columbia Icefields Parkway. And you actually get an opportunity to go on board one of those big ice climbing vehicles, and you actually get an opportunity to step out and walk on a glacier, which I find pretty cool. So you can be able to experience that. From Jasper, we'll then head down to Banff, where in Banff we'll do 2 nights in a centrally located lodge in Banff. And while we're there, we'll get admission to the Glacier Skywalk and the Glacier Discovery Center, which is on top of Sulphur Mountain. So you take the Banff gondolas up to the top, and you get to experience the top and all the different amenities at the top of Sulphur Mountain. You get some really beautiful views of that whole region, which is really breathtaking. And along with all of this, too, you get a sightseeing tour of Lake Louise and Banff, where Lake Louise blew my mind. It was probably one of the most beautiful spots I've ever seen in my life, and I've been all throughout the world. So Lake Louise, highly recommend it. From Banff, we'll then transfer you down to Calgary, where you do end the trip with 1 night in a downtown Calgary Hotel. Really amazing sightseeing tour. So while we're there, it's an 11-day, 10-night. We get the 2 tours in Glacier National Park, the Big Sky Circle Tour and the 2 Medicine Valley Boat Cruise. In Vancouver, we'll get the hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour as well as admission to the Vancouver Lookout. In Jasper, we'll get the Icefields Parkway excursion. And in Banff, we'll get the admission to the Glacier Skywalk and Discovery Center, as well as sightseeing tour of Lake Louise and Banff. All in all, it's 7 nights hotel, 2 nights on board Amtrak, and 1 night on board Via. And yes, the 3 nights on the train, whether it be Amtrak or Via, are in coach accommodations. We can once again completely upgrade to the sleeping accommodations. We'll get a private room with beds, shower access, and our meals on the train will be included. Amazing package. So definitely, if you want to experience Canada, this is the best way to do so. Now, I know we've been going over a lot about different national parks, but what about some non-national park destinations? Well, let's hop right into that real quick. And we're going to pay a visit to some of my favorite East Coast destinations, that being Charleston and Savannah. This package is huge for this year. Those cities, I don't know what's going on in Charleston and Savannah, but these 2 destinations are burning up because they're so popular. And this package is amazing. So this one starts off with 3 nights in Charleston. You'll do 3 nights in the historic district of Charleston, which is right where you want to be. And while you're there, you have the Sightseeing City Tour, which goes by some of the famous historic sites that Charleston has to offer. So you'll see Fort Sumter and Rainbow Row. And along with all that, too, you get a sightseeing tour of the Magnolia Plantation. Once our 3 nights in Charleston are all done, we'll then do one-way on board Amtrak and just a couple-hour-long train down to Savannah, Georgia, which is an amazing city. And while we're in Savannah, we'll do 2 nights in the historic district there as well. And while we're there, we'll get a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour as well as a sightseeing harbor cruise of Savannah as well. This one's a 6-day, 5-night. We get the sightseeing tour of Charleston. We get the sightseeing tour of the Magnolia Plantation out of Charleston. We get a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour of Savannah as well as a sightseeing harbor cruise in Savannah. We get one-way Amtrak and coach accommodations between Charleston and Savannah, as well as it's 5 nights hotel, and though you do get a dinner included at the Swamp Fox restaurant in Charleston, which is one of the top-rated restaurants in the city of Charleston. So you get some really great cuisine there. So that's Charleston and Savannah. Now, I'm very excited to share this next package with you all because it was our top-selling trip in 2017, and it's just huge. Here it is. I'm not even going to. It's our Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. Now, we have 3 versions of these Grand National Parks, and they were literally our 3 top packages this past year. And they actually came from suggestions from travelers like yourself, so thank you. If you notice it, they are quite lengthy, and they do have quite a bit of rail, and they do visit quite a few different places as well in different national parks. So if you are looking for a bit of a longer trip or to visit several national parks in one trip, this is the package for you. So this trip starts off departing out of Chicago, doing an overnight train on board the California Zephyr, arriving into Salt Lake City the following evening. In Salt Lake City, we'll do 1 night in a downtown Salt Lake City hotel, and then the next day, we are then going to hop aboard the Out Lake Express, which will bring us up to Yellowstone National Park, where we do the 2 nights up in one of the lodges in West Yellowstone. In Yellowstone, we'll have that lower loop tour of Yellowstone National Park. From Yellowstone, we'll then transfer you back down to Salt Lake City, where we catch an evening train, an overnight train over to San Francisco. And in San Francisco, we are going to do 2 nights in a downtown San Francisco hotel, and we are going to have that guided sightseeing tour of Yosemite National Park that was featured in one of the previous package as well. From San Francisco, and once our fun in San Francisco and Yosemite are all said and done, we will then take the Amtrak's most scenic train, the Coast Starlight. It's in fact been voted the most scenic train in North America the past 3 years. We're going to take that from San Francisco down to Los Angeles. And when we get into Los Angeles, we're going to do 1 night in a downtown Los Angeles hotel. And while we're in Los Angeles, we are going to have a sightseeing tour of Los Angeles. We'll do 1 night in a hotel, and we'll have a guided sightseeing tour of the city of Los Angeles, which will take you by a lot of the famous sites of Los Angeles, such as downtown LA. You'll get to go up through Hollywood and see Grauman's Chinese Theater and the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and you even get a chance to go up to Beverly Hills and the Hollywood Hills as well. Once our fun in Los Angeles is all said and done, we're then going to do an overnight train on board the Southwest Chief, a night train and overnight train from Los Angeles to Williams, Arizona, where we arrive the following morning. And in Williams, we're going to switch right over to the famous Grand Canyon Railway, which will take us up to the South Rim. And when we get up to the South Rim, we will have the guided motor coach tour of the South Rim that will highlight a lot of the key sites that the South Rim is known for. And then we're going to do 1 night in one of the lodges up in the Grand Canyon Village up at the South Rim. Once that's all our fun, that's all said and done, we will then hop aboard the Grand Canyon Railway back down to Williams, where we'll then end the trip in Williams with one more night at the Grand Canyon Railway Hotel. And then the next morning, we're going to hop aboard the Amtrak Southwest Chief and then do an overnight train from Williams back to Chicago. So just to highlight this one, everyone, it's a 13-day, 12-night. We get a sightseeing tour of Yellowstone's Lower Loop, the sightseeing tour of Yosemite National Park out of San Francisco. We get a city tour of Los Angeles. We get round trip on board the Grand Canyon Railway and the Motor Coach Freedom Tour of the South Rim. All in all, 8 nights hotel, 4 nights on board the train. And yes, the 4 nights on this train are in coach accommodations. We can absolutely do this upgrade to the sleepers. We'll get a private room with beds, shower access, and our meals on the train will be included. Really amazing package. Like I said, folks, this was very, very popular this past year. So definitely is quite your chance to take full advantage of this. Now, as we continue, here's another one of our top trips. I love this. Now, we have these packages that are called our rail experiences, which are some of our most popular packages because they really put the focus on the journey rather than the destination. We try to keep the hotels and destination stays at a minimum, where the true focus is being on the train as much as humanly possible. And this is our most popular one, as it utilizes the 3 most scenic routes on Amtrak. So this departs out of Chicago. We do 2 nights on the Empire Builder, the most northern route, which we go up through Wisconsin, up through the Lakes region of Minnesota, across the prairies of North Dakota, through the mountains of Montana, crossing through a little bit of Idaho, then crossing over the Columbia River, leading us into Washington State, where we get led into 2 days later into Seattle, where we'll do 1 night in Seattle in a downtown hotel. And while we're in Seattle, we will have a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour. From Seattle, we'll then hop aboard Amtrak's most scenic train, the Coast Starlight, and we're going to take that from Seattle down to San Francisco, where we arrive the following afternoon. And in San Francisco, we're going to do 2 nights, and we're also going to have a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour of San Francisco, as well as the sightseeing tour of Muir Woods and Sausalito, which is quite nice. And then we also get a sightseeing cruise of the Bay Cruise of San Francisco Bay. And then once our fun in San Francisco is all done, we are then going to hop aboard the California Zephyr and head 2 nights on the train back east to Chicago. And that train ride's beautiful too. It actually passes through eastern California, through the Donner Pass, into Nevada, across the mountains of Utah and Colorado, leading us into Nebraska and Iowa, back into Chicago. So just to highlight this one, everyone, it's a 9-day, 8-night. We get hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tours of Seattle and San Francisco. We get the Muir Woods and Sausalito tour, and we also get a Bay Cruise in San Francisco. And to top it all off, we get a dinner in San Francisco at a Pier 39 restaurant. All in all, it's 3 nights hotel, 5 nights on board the train. Yes, those 5 nights are in coach accommodations. Once again, a trip like this, you definitely want to upgrade to the sleepers. You'll get a private room with beds, shower access, and meals on the train will be included. Now, as we continue, let's visit another top destination for 2018, that being Niagara Falls, Canada, one of our neighbors to the north. And yes, we do work with the Canadian side, so passports, cards, or enhanced driver's licenses would be necessary. And this package is huge. It's a 3-day, 2-night, and a 2 nights in a hotel that's literally steps away from the falls. And while we're there, we get admission to the Skylon Tower, which is the observation tower that overlooks the falls, as well as the admission to the Voyage to the Falls, which is the boat ride that'll bring you over to the falls themselves. Amazing package. Niagara Falls is so beautiful, and it's just a fun spot to go to. I love it. I went there a couple years ago, and I absolutely loved it, and I know you all will too. Or perhaps maybe we could pay a visit to our nation's capital, one of my favorite spots, Washington, D.C. Absolutely love Washington, and this is our most popular Washington, D.C. package, our Washington, D.C. Ultimate Getaway. We do 3 nights hotel right in downtown Washington, either in Capitol Hill or on DuPont Circle. And while we're there, we'll have a multi-day hop-on, hop-off sightseeing trolley. We'll have admission to either the International Spy Museum or the Newseum. Now, the Spy Museum is all about the history of the news and the mass media. No, that's the Newseum, my apologies. The Spy Museum is all about the histories of spies and espionage, and they have a great James Bond exhibit. The Newseum is all about the histories of news and the mass media. They have an amazing 9/11 exhibit there. And lastly, we get the Monuments by Moonlight tour, which is a nighttime tour that'll take you over by some of the famous monuments and memorials, and you get to see them all lit up at night. Definitely one of my favorite sightseeing tours I've ever done, and I know you all will really love it. It's just really amazing in itself. It's such a fun tour. Then lastly, my all-time favorite spot ever, the Big Easy itself, New Orleans. This is our most popular New Orleans package. It's a 4-day, 3-night. We do 3 nights in either the French Quarter or in Canal Street. And while we're there, we'll have dinner at a popular Cajun restaurant in the French Quarter. And then we have the New Orleans visit ticket for 2 days, which is a pass that will get you in to more than 25 of New Orleans' top attractions. So you would actually get into, say, like the San Francisco Plantation House, Blaine Kern's Mardi Gras World, which is the warehouse where they make all the Mardi Gras floats, the National World War II Museum. You can do a Creole cooking demonstration. You can go to the zoo. You can go to the aquarium. You can do a walking tour. You can do a ghost tour. There's more than 25 different attractions and activities to do on that pass. And to top it all off, too, my friends, where you can get a set of choices between either the Swamp and Bayou Tour, the Hurricane Katrina Tour, or the Steamboat Natchez Evening Jazz Cruise, which is always my recommendation, as you can kind of kill two birds with one stone in a way. Not only will you get to go on board one of those big old-fashioned paddle wheel boats, but along with all of that, you also get to hear some live jazz music as well on board. So you get to kind of kill two birds with one stone for the ultimate New Orleans experience. Now, throughout the presentation, I've been mentioning sleeping accommodations and rooms and coach, but what exactly does this all mean? Well, let's hop right into that because it's very important to know the different accommodations. And as you can see, we're going to first go over coach, which as you can see is a pretty standard seat on board the train. But take what you know about airplane seating and picture the exact opposite, because the coach seating on Amtrak is phenomenal. First off, the seats themselves are typically double the size of your standard airplane seat. The seats themselves recline at a 45-degree angle, and they also have a leg rest as well. And the legroom is uncomparable. In fact, one time last year, I took a train trip with one of my colleagues, and he's 6'6". He could fully stretch his legs out and still have room to spare. Good luck finding that on an airplane. That's all I'm going to say. And if you do, you're probably going to pay an incredible premium for all of that. So keep that in mind. Now, coach seating is great. However, meals aren't included. Neither is shower access. And if you're doing a night or more on board the train, you're probably going to want to eat. You're probably going to want to take a shower. So where do we go from there? That's right. We can upgrade to the roomettes. Now, the roomettes are the most popular type of sleeper on board the train. During the day, it's two big seats that face each other with a big picture window in between and a fold-out table. At night, those two seats you see convert to the lower bed, and right above where the head is, it pulls down for the top bed. Now, I do want to point out with the roomettes, meals are included. However, the bathrooms and showers are located down the hall. And yes, they are private but shared. So yes, you will be sharing them with the rest of the people in roomette accommodations in the same car, but they're private. Once you're in there, you're in there. There's no one else that's going to come in. It's not like a college dormitory. And it's a full-size bathroom with a full-size shower. And I will point out that taking a shower on board the train is quite neat in itself. In fact, there's nothing better than taking a shower at 80 miles per hour. Now, you might say, Nick, this sounds excellent. I love the sound of it, but what if I want my own private facilities in room? What if I want my own private toilet to take a shower? Well, say no more, folks. We could do that for you. This is the bedroom accommodations, which is a little bit bigger than the roomettes. It's a bit of a different setup. So during the day where the gentleman is sitting is actually more of a sofa-style seating, but there's actually an extra recliner as well where the lady is sitting. That sofa-style seating converts to the lower bed, and right above where his head is, it pulls down for the top bed. Now, what I will point out is that in the room, it's not seen, but in the room there is a private toilet, sink, and shower in use, and you're in use alone, and for your use and your use alone when you have the bedroom accommodation. So keep that in mind if you do want to have your own facilities. Now, there's so much to see and do on the train. Now, I do want to point out, if you look at the top right, you see the people looking out the window. That, my friends, is the observation car. Now, the observation car is the spot to be in for Amtrak, as it's really your front row seat to seeing some of the beautiful scenery that you can only see from an Amtrak train. If you think about it, the observation car has floor-to-ceiling windows where the seats actually face outwards towards the windows, and it has a glass dome top on the seat. I can tell you when I went on my train journey, other than to eat, sleep, and shower, I did not leave the observation car because it really is your front row ticket to seeing all of the different scenery that Amtrak has to offer. And now's the moment we've all been waiting for, dining on board the train. I know I've been talking about you get your meals included and this, that, and the other thing and upgrading, but what is exactly does that mean? Like, what's the food like on Amtrak? Well, take what you know once again about airplanes and picture the exact opposite, because the dining on Amtrak is phenomenal. And you would be amazed at the quality of meals that the onboard chef can freshly prepare in this tiny little kitchen on board a train. I'm talking for breakfast. There's pancakes or waffles, bacon and eggs, omelets. For lunch, there's juicy cheeseburgers, grilled chicken salads, pasta dishes. For dinner, there's fish, there's chicken, and there's Amtrak's main dish, as you can see right on your screen, the Amtrak signature steak, which I can tell you I had 2 nights in a row once, and I absolutely loved it. And I know you all will too. And just the whole experience about dining on board the train is really amazing. As soon as you board the train, the dining car attendant will come by, set up reservation times that you want to eat your meals. When it's time to eat, you head down to the dining car, take a seat in one of these big, comfortable booths with a white linen tablecloth layout, and you get to order from a menu and you get to order from a server like you would at a restaurant. So if you think about it, not only is Amtrak just transportation, but it's really a hotel on wheels, a restaurant on wheels, and sightseeing on wheels, all rolled up into one amazing experience. And we've barely scratched the surface of really what we have to offer to all of you. If you pay a visit to our website at amtrakvacations.com, from there you can navigate through, and actually where that red arrow is pointing, if you hover over that, you can literally go through and see all of our different vacation packages and destinations that we have to offer to all of you. And once you have the right package in mind, how do you book those? Once again, you can give us a call at 1-800-268-7252, and one of our amazing reservationists will be more than happy to help you out and help you get that booked. Or you can book through the website at amtrakvacations.com, or alternatively, and what I always recommend, you can pay a visit or give a call to your local travel agent. They will be more than happy to assist you. That's what I do for all my local travel and my travel that I ever need. I go through my local travel agent. So keep that in mind. Travel agents are, like I said, are one of the best resources that one can have. And here's that exclusive discount for everyone. This week, if you upgrade to a sleeping accommodation on any rail package, you can save yourself $100 per couple or $50 per person. To take advantage of this, you just need to book by January the 24th. I'm going to leave this up here just for a second so you all can make sure to get that down. All right, let's see. Excellent. And we do offer some really great everyday discounts as well. If you're traveling with children ages 2 to 12, they get a 50% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak Vacations package. If you have any travelers that are over the age of 65, if anyone's 65 or over, you get a 10% discount on the rail portion of an Amtrak Vacations package. And lastly, any active duty military personnel, your spouses and your dependents get a 10% discount off the rail portion of an Amtrak Vacations package as well. And also, don't forget to download the handout once again that covered a lot of the information that we went over today in the different packages. And now's the time, too. If you have any questions, please feel free to fire them away, and I will be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. But before I do so, before I answer any questions and wrap it up for a day, I do want to reach out and I want to say name our winner of the $100 Amtrak Vacations gift card. And today's lucky winner, drumroll, is Naomi Nunn. Congratulations, Naomi. We hope to see you soon on Amtrak and with Amtrak Vacations. And in the meantime, thank you to everyone for attending. And now's the time I will open up for questions, and I'm going to answer because I've been seeing them come throughout the presentation as well. Let's see. Jen is asking, let's see, about bathrooms on the train. There is several bathrooms throughout the whole entire train, so there's always going to be options to really use the bathroom. There's never really an issue that they cannot use the bathroom because they're literally on every car. So there's several bathrooms on every single car of the train. Are there any special services for large parties traveling together? Can we reserve an entire car? Unfortunately, no. That you wouldn't be able to reserve an entire car on Amtrak. Let's see. Got some great questions. Let's see. Susan, do you have any accommodations that include a shower and toilet in your room for the Grand Canyon package? Yes, we do. If you wanted to upgrade to the bedrooms on board the train, you can absolutely have the private toilet, sink, and shower in room. Lionel's asking, are there tours in the various cities dedicated to Amtrak travelers, or are you part of the general scheduled tours by various companies? So we operate our tours. We're a tour operator. But there aren't any dedicated tours necessarily to the Amtrak travelers. They're, the general they are the general schedule tours by our different partners in each of the cities that operate the sightseeing tours. Lisa's asking, is there a way to stay on just one train the entire night and never get off? You could, but I mean, realistically, you definitely there is a way, but it's more of like a one-way type of thing. Let's see. Andres is asking, is that we offer air. We unfortunately do not offer any airfare at all. That's where you would want to go through your local travel agent. Luba is asking, what food is included in the overnight ride in the sleeping accommodation? You get all your meals. Whatever meals are served while you're on board the train are included. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner when you're on the train. Tracy's asking, how do you fit a family of 4 in a sleeping car? Well, you would Amtrak does have, say if it's 2 adults and 2 children, Amtrak does have a family room on board the train, which is big enough for 2 adults and 2 children. But say if they're bigger children or they're a little bit older, or you don't want to do the family car necessarily or the family room, you could do. I always recommend doing 2 roomettes across the hall from each other. That way you get views on both sides of the train, and you also are all together on board the train as well. Because the roomettes are the hallway is pretty narrow, so you're close enough to where you can still talk to each other and be together. That was a great question, Tracy. Thank you. Well, Lisa, our train ticket dates flexible. They are, the train operates daily, but you need to book the dates you want to travel and where you want to go. It's not like they're really open-ended tickets necessarily. Amtrak doesn't really do that. Linda's asking, are there discounts for vets? If you have the Veterans Advantage card, which is a third-party company that offers this discount card that's good for all sorts of different things, we do the Veterans discount, the Veterans Advantage discount. Jack's asking, what is the single supplement charge for single travelers? Honestly, it can vary. It's all based upon the exact trip and the availability and things of that sort. But I can tell you about 27% of our travelers will travel solo, so we can definitely do that. Yes, Rob, we can definitely help you out with that, and I'll actually have your specific rep reach out to you. I'll make sure that gets sorted out for you. So it looks like to me we might be out of questions for today, unless anyone has any last minute ones. Yes, Rami just recently moved. Amtrak, there's no plans to open up that line just yet, unfortunately, Rami. So yes, it looks like to me I am out of time for today and out of questions. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank you all once again for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit about what we got going on in 2018. Once again, if you do want to go ahead and book anything that we saw today or anything that we have to offer, please call that number on your screen, or once again, pay a visit to your local travel agent, and they will be more than happy to assist you. In the meantime, everyone, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and have a really great rest of your week. And until next time, everyone, take care, and we hope to see you soon on Amtrak and with Amtrak Vacations. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.